Hello and welcome back to another Out of Spec Reviews video, and welcome back to another 70 mile per hour highway MPG test video. In this video we will be testing the Toyota Venza, new for 2021, this one in limited trim with a dog that is very excited. Let's go through the testing procedures. The Venza has been restyled, updated, and brought back to market for the 2021 model year. This particular one is, of course, the hybrid, but also in limited trim. Sort of has every option available in the Venza. What we're going to be doing is going up on the highway to our typical fueling spot. It is a come-and-go gas station off of I-25 in Wellington, Colorado. We will then be filling up the tank all the way to full. This car does require 87 octane. We'll be using that. In Colorado, we actually have as low as 85 octane, but we'll be using 87 here. Then we're going to be jumping on the highway, setting the speed at a GPS accurate 70 mile per hour speed, and then we will also be ending it right back, hopefully at the same exact gas pump that we started with. The reason we do a loop style test is to counteract any wind, elevation, and other variables throughout the drive. So same start and end point, constant speed, highway MPG test here in the Venza. Here underneath the hood, we have a 2.5 liter, just under 2.498 or so, four-cylinder engine with a hybrid drive system. Now, this is interesting. It uses lithium-ion batteries here. I believe it's 3.6 amp hour at around 250 volts, plus or minus nominal pack voltage. And it also has an all-wheel drive system, but not an all-wheel drive system like you would know. This actually has no drive shaft connection from the front tires here to the back tires over there. This has an electric motor only powering the rear wheels. Very similar to that Prius hybrid we tested, all-wheel drive E. And that actually proved to be slightly helpful in the snow. That particular car only had 7 horsepower on the rear axle. I'm not sure how much horsepower this car makes on the rear axle, but if I can find it in the technical material, I'll put it right here. Anyway, now that you know a little bit about the drivetrain, let's head over to our fueling station in Wellington, fill up the tank, jump right on the highway, and see what kind of efficiency we can get in the Toyota Venza. By the way, a point I always like to make in these videos is I set the tire pressures to manufacturer suggested pressures, and I just did that while I left the house. Let's head up on the highway. All right, we're at the fueling station. Let's fill it up with 87 as it requires and filling up. You know, I gotta say, driving it over on the highway here, getting everything over to operating temperature, this thing cruises pretty nice. And is that really all the fuel that it's gonna take? All right, let's figure this out. Squeeze it again, and then once we hit the end of this one, we're gonna give it 30 seconds, and then we'll be full. Okay, we have the vehicle filled up all the way. What I'm going to do is reset our trip odometer. I'm not turning the car on. We're going to run just on accessory power. By the way, it's important to mention, let's check our hybrid battery. So we're at 50% state of charge on the hybrid battery. Now, as we cruise down the highway, the car isn't going to run in electric mode, so we're going to run mostly on. I am going to put the car in eco mode, though. I always run the most eco-friendly mode, or the most efficiency-oriented mode, without turning off climate control. So we're going to run 72 degrees on auto. It's warm out today, 86 degrees and sunny. Almost no wind though, so really good conditions actually. Let's go over and reset all of our trip computer. We're going to reset everything here for efficiency. Then we're going to jump up on the highway to 70 miles per hour, check that 70 is a true GPS speed, run up to Cheyenne, Wyoming, and back here to Colorado, and see how well this thing does. We have the car in eco mode. We have our fuel economy reset. We'll compare that with our pump results. We're going to go power on and into drive, and off we go. Let's see how well this thing does. By the way, the EV charger's over there, still not powered on, unfortunately. So let's jump over to the highway. This particular Venza makes about 217 horsepower at wide open throttle. Because this car does have quite a bit of electrification power, I believe over 100 horsepower is from the electric motors. It does feel pretty quick. Up here at altitude here in northern Colorado, a lot of combustion vehicles feel slower than they would compared to, you know, at sea level, but the electrification bits of this car really make this thing feel pretty sprightly. It also has one of the neatest features ever. Let me show you up here. So there's a little magic button for the sunroof. The sunroof doesn't open, but watch this. Boom! It's got some gas in between two plates of glass, and this is the button to, I guess, run some charge through it. Maybe we'll turn that off. I don't think it'll affect efficiency, but a really neat feature, something I've only seen in maybe Mercedes, very high-end Mercedes or Ferraris, things like this. Not typically found on something as pedestrian, dare I say, as a Toyota Venza. And of course, plenty of rear seat room for your passengers as well. The one thing I notice immediately when getting into the Venza, and we'll have again more videos on this car, is the seating position is quite high. So you do sit very high up in this car, but it gives you a great view of the road. But if you like me and like to sit low, that's not necessarily a good thing, but not terrible either. And here we go, merging onto the highway. What I try to do is hit 70 miles per hour at the end of the straightaway, or I should say at the end of the merge ramp over here. So we'll just do our moderate acceleration on the way up. And then of course we'll measure with GPS speed. I do also want to mention I'm running with heated steering wheel off. Of course it's warm out, but also air conditioned seats off. We need to bring a little bit more speed here, try and get to 70 miles an hour right at the end of this merge ramp. So it's foot down a little bit, and 70 right at the correct spot. There we go. Let's head up to Wyoming. Cruising along here about a quarter of the way through the test. 70 miles per hour indicated is 70 GPS accurate. You can see the car is doing lane tracing. I don't know if you can tell in the heads-up display there, but I get 2 extra blue lines over the lane centering lines. You can also see it here in this little display, and that means that the car is actively doing lane centering. It's actually a really good system, and it's called Toyota Safety Sense 2.0, something like this. A really nice suite of safety assistance systems. Let's see if it does lane changes. Negative, which is interesting because some of Toyota's other products like Lexus Safety System Plus A, whatever that is called, the exact name, that you can get like a Lexus LS, for example, that does lane changes. So Toyota has the tech. They just chose not to put it in the Venza, which kind of bothers me. Also, unlike other Toyotas, the Venza has a normal car horn. Not one of those rinky-dink car horns we've seen in other Toyota models. So, gotta say, this is a very mixed bag of a car. Really neat, great tech, very comfortable, extremely quiet on the highway. And so far, the car is indicating a 35.6 MPG average. Of course, we won't know how accurate that is until we run the same ground backwards. But great day. Looks like we do have a little bit of clouds coming through here, but nothing major, and the wind is still. Gotta love it. We are approaching our halfway turnaround point, exit 7. As you guys know, I say every video, I love this exit because it has continuous left turns where we don't have to cross opposing traffic. We can just make lefts and lefts. I've just pulled it off 70 miles an hour for the first time. Really awesome conditions here for this test. We had minimal traffic, no wind advantage. Aero advantage by following another vehicle, for example. Just awesome. Charging up the batteries here. I have a little meter in my heads-up display. I can see I'm regenning as I'm blending friction brakes. We do not need to come to a stop. We can just continue on through, and it'll be gentle accelerations onto the highway. We'll reach 70 miles per hour at the end of the on-ramp, as we always do. And awesome car to cruise in. Wow, very impressed here by the capability. The noise levels are quite low. The refinement is very high. I hate to say this, but it almost doesn't feel very Toyota-like. The drivetrain does. Very sort of CVT type drivetrain, not very premium. But the car itself is definitely one of the nicest driving Toyotas I have ever driven. And that's a big statement because they do make some great driving cars. Need to accelerate a little bit more to hit 70 here, and just a great cruiser, gotta say. Good sound system too. 70 miles an hour. Let's lock it in on adaptive cruise. There we go. We'll set our distance, and now it is lane tracing us back to Colorado. We're about to cross into Colorado in the Venza, and it does something really neat when you cross state lines. Take a listen.
Welcome to Colorado.
Welcome to Colorado. How neat is that? It welcomes you to every state. When we popped into Wyoming, I'm like, who is this lady? I've never had a car announce a state line crossing. That's pretty neat. And we are finishing up our highway loop back at exit 278. You can see great driver assistance displays here in the center. We're going to pull the car off at 70 miles per hour. You can see we're down into the charge slightly. If I touch the brake pedal, it'll charge even more. So it does regen braking blended with the brake pedal itself. It does slight off throttle regen, but really it's coasting. And now we're just gonna go and hit the physical friction brakes now, pushing through the maximum regen. Heading over to the gas station that we always start and end our fuel economy test set. So let's head over there and see what kind of MPGs this Toyota Venza has done. So in we go, and let's go wide open on the nozzle until it clicks off, and then we're going to give it 30 seconds. And my guess is it's going to be really efficient because, man, you guys are going to be so surprised just based off of what the internal calculation says. Really, really good efficiency. Now, I've shown you quickly in the trunk at the beginning of this video. Take a look in the back seat though. Pretty good room, not incredible, but beautiful glass roof. Again, doesn't open, but does do that sort of electrically charged thing. And overall, in limited trim, this is, you know, every option. It doesn't look half bad. Really like these wheels too. Well, after filling this thing up, my suspicions were correct, and man, am I impressed. Seriously impressed with the fuel economy on this vehicle. So we drove 57.5 miles, as we do every time we do this loop, and I usually choose this gas pump too. We used 1.212 gallons to do 57.5 miles, which is 47 and a bit MPG. Crazy. That's off of the pump. Now, the car says we did 44.3. So my guess is it's somewhere in there. Let's just call it right around 45 MPG. Car suggested, again, 44.3. The math suggests 47 or so. It's really hard to go off the pumps because you guys let me know. I've been noticing some inconsistencies doing it with our filling method versus relying on the cars. Sometimes the cars are wrong, but either way, we're in that mid to high 40 range, which is truly incredible for an all-wheel drive SUV that's plenty quick with over 200 horsepower. Great technology. Again, this awesome sunroof tech above my head. Really good driver assistance. That is insanely good. 47 or 44 miles per gallon, whichever you prefer. Nice work, Toyota. Thank you guys for watching another Out of Spec Reviews video. Hope to see you again on the next one. Bye-bye.